Hey y'all, welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as TooLizForYou, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry and have been posting Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram, which I posted again.
You've posted a few times.
This week?
Yeah, you were making the shirt, you were doing other things.
Shirt. I don't remember posting other than the shirt, but
okay.
It's possible.
I don't know, I just kept on getting alerts that you were posting things because other people were commenting on things.
All right. I only look occasionally. And I only look at Facebook when you tell me there's something there.
Reasonable.
You know, once they took the games off of Facebook and made them separate apps, I don't need to go on Facebook. I don't need to learn about all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That everybody's putting out there. I'd rather look at YouTubes.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What do you want to start to talk about?
I don't know. I guess I've been working on what you can't see here, which I have a very good little two-handed system going on with my cross stitch on the table.
Yes, she does.
Which is quite nice, because then I'm not having to move my hands all around. I just want to finish this row, and then I will show you. It is the Tamora Pierce stitch along. It is, I am behind. I will acknowledge that, but it is coming along quite swimmingly. I have spent I spent an evening on the first book, and then I've been doing the second one intermittently, so you can see the first book here, and the second book. Spoilers, no spoilers. This first section is the Becca Cooper series, so there will be a third book here.
The letters will be filled in with white.
With white, and I think actually in this it'll be a yellow, because I think it's a different color. Yeah, it's a different color.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then it goes in chronologic order.
Oh, neat.
So the fourth pattern will be released on Wednesday. So I am behind. You know what? I'm going to just be kind to myself and say, when I get it done, I get it done. But I am trying to work on it a little bit every week. With the Olympics, I have found that I can do this and watch things pretty easily. So I might also try and do it, because I found out that I can do about a book an evening. So we'll see.
Oh, all right. That's not
bad. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I figure I'll keep working on this downstairs while we watch Olympics tonight. Yep. And we'll see, because this week's going to be tough.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm wearing a shirt.
You are wearing a shirt.
I posted on Instagram yesterday that I cut out yesterday while listening to the Olympics because my dining room is not set up that I can look at the television. So it was fabric until about 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Your father comes in and goes, "You want to go anywhere?" No, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to work on my shirt.
Do you not see the fabric on the table?
That's right. So this is this pattern,
which you showed off last week.
Just here. I haven't put the pattern pieces back. And it's got its long, so the only thing I haven't had time to do is do the snaps on my sleeves. They say buttons or snaps, or, maybe a hook. I could do a hook. I could do even elastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the idea of the elastic over
a button.
A button. That's an idea. That's quite a good idea, actually. Although I certainly have enough room for a buttonhole, but it's not enough for me to get my arm in and out.
If you closed it.
If I closed it. It's certainly long enough and it has enough freedom in the sleeve, but
not to put it on and off.
Not to put it on and off, and I find it, just uncomfortable, not uncomfortable.
Burdensome?
Burdensome, not slick. It's a pain in the butt to have to futz around with my wrong hand, or my sinister hand, to button the button on my right sleeve. I can pretty much do it on the left sleeve, no problem. So I'm thinking about how I want to do the closures.
For the sleeves.
for the sleeves. If I wanted to do the elastic, I think I'd probably pick out part of the seaming around the cuff so I could sew it in by machine. I did a fair amount of the sewing by hand.
Nice.
Which is why I'm not going to work on my embroidery tonight, because I'm just about to poke a hole in this finger. I figured out I'd have my... I also worked on another project assiduously, and I almost poked a hole in this finger, and I put a Band-Aid over it. And I was thinking that if I had a thimble that would be one of these Band-Aids that stays on really well, that had a piece of metal in it that I could push against, that would be my perfect thimble. I haven't yet figured out some piece of metal that I've got around here that would work. I may take some old credit card and try that, have that to push against.
Okay. That's an interesting idea.
I think that there would be very few things that would go through my mood card, you know?
Very possibly.
So I'm thinking about that. So I did the arms.
Gusset.
The sleeves are made very differently than present day sleeves. So in present day sleeves, we have a sleeve cap that's here that gives you a lot of room. Your armhole is round. This was basically not filling in that part of the seam. So they didn't make any extra allowance for your arm. It's a square. And I have a gusset underneath here that opens out the seam underneath like this. And then you have the rest of the sleeve pattern being gathered, or I pleated it. So it was going to be massive gathers, and they were going to lap over each other anyway, so I decided to do pleats. I'm pretty happy with it. I think next time I wouldn't make the neckline quite so low. So I would bring it up at least an inch. The pattern itself, I brought in 7 inches, 3.5 inches on each side. And I brought it up several inches because I didn't need to have it going down to... I didn't need a dress.
Okay.
But I could make a dress, and I use size extra small. So in the historical men's patterns, apparently I'm an extra small. The pattern was very quick to do. I did not use a roller cutter. I did use scissors, but for the most part I could have used a roller cutter because most of the pieces are square or rectangle.
I tend to want to use a rotary more on large curves.
You know, I could have set it down and done the sides of the top. Interesting, the top does not have shoulder seams. This is cut on the fold. And there's a gusset here. No. Where's the gusset? The gusset is here at my neckline to open up the neck. They really weren't that specific about how wide to make this gusset sit on the shoulder. So I made it as wide as it could fit, covering the fabric. And then there is what they call a sleeve support that is like a saddle that goes over where the gusset is and comes over to the armhole. And that's what this is. But there is no seam underneath of this. Your neckline is basically just a slit here. And then you make your facing, which is, you know, fabric that's self-face. And you sew that and then flip it to the back. I top stitched this. I top stitched the collar, which is in addition to what the directions said. Just because this way I know it's going to lie flat. It's not going to shift. Yes, I did hand tack it down, but I like the look of edge stitching or top stitching. So I did that. I've hemmed it by hand because we were watching the Olympics, and it was easier that way. It really was. It was just a roll of a 1/4 inch and a roll of a 1/4 inch, and then just tack that up. So that actually is doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. In the future, what would I do? I think I would do interfacing in the collar.
Okay.
I would probably do interfacing in the cuffs because there's almost no body in that. So if I were making this not just to play in, but to go someplace, I would put interfacing in the collar, the cuffs, and probably here at the neck facing. A light interfacing, but an interfacing nonetheless. But thumbs up for the pattern. I thought it was really good and easy to do. So what would you like to make mention of?
So what else I'm working on? I have gotten to almost to the last, I'm about halfway through the last decrease repeat of my sleeves of my Mystro, which is the test knit I was doing for Meiju KP. So that's the back. Pretty. It's really pretty. So once I do the last decrease, I am going to try it on. I'll move the sleeves, one of the sleeves onto another needle, and I don't know if I can get this needle around my shoulders, so we will see. Maybe I'll add another cord down there too, and try it on again just to make sure I know how long I want these sleeves to be, because it is a raglan. It doesn't end up usually hitting me right in the armpit and arm's eye where I would normally measure my sweaters from. And I found recently, well, I guess maybe not, maybe in the last 2 years, especially with blends, it'll act differently than superwash, obviously. So you definitely want to try it on and make sure that your lengths are still what you want them to be, and what you'll be comfortable with, just so that you don't make them too long or too short, based on just the weight of the yarn, making it grow.
And since you're making the fabric, it makes sense to try it on. What the heck? Why get upset later on? I tried my shirt on yesterday minus the sleeves and actually wore it all around, and your father said, "Oh, I really like that." So one of the things we were making mention of this weekend is that Richard's actually very good at giving compliments.
You have trained him well.
Yes. I think our first date after we met, I actually made a skirt to go out with. And when he called to confirm the date, I said, and oh, by the way, when you come and pick me up, and you see what I'm wearing, you say, "Oh, isn't that pretty?" And he goes, "Why?" I said, "Because I made the skirt for tonight. That's why." Or for that dodo. Yeah, and I worked hard on it. So you say, "That's really nice." And he did. And he said, "But I really mean it." I said, "Good. I hope you really mean it." But that's the appropriate response. So I started early. Yes. So anything else?
What else are you working on?
I finished. So you finished?
Sure. Okay. I have nothing finished.
I finished the dress.
Oh, look at that.
It has not been blocked.
Oh.
So it hasn't gone through the wash. I thought I would put both of them through the wash at the same time.
Probably a good idea.
So I have this, and then, of course, you all saw the onesie.
Yeah.
So now they each have something, and I will put them through the wash together and get them set up and actually put aside. And I'll show you where I'm putting them so I won't lose them, because I still have not been able to find the skirt to that sweater
coat
dress that I was fixing with the embroidery. I have the embroidery thread, yarn, but I took it out because it was bulking up my knitting bag, and I put it someplace.
And
super safe, and I don't know where I put it. So I'm going to continue to look. I'm sure eventually we will find it. We've not lost anything yet, but it's one of those things. So what else?
So what I'm working on in my hands right now is the beginnings of a very large shawl out of, this is out of Goosey Fibers Advent 2018, 2019, something like that. So this is color 1. So it is going to be, I'm going to lose my spot. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here. 6 from bottom. Okay. Sorry, making a note there so that when I change to the different file on Google Drive, I won't be upset because I won't be able to find it.
Right.
Or find my spot. So I am starting the Kuschelig, which is this really fun rectangular shawl. I have 2 friends who have made it and really enjoyed it, so I'm making size 3, which is going to be approximately 24 by 80 inches. I am working it, so it calls for a size 4. I want to use my size 4s for something else, and it just didn't feel right to knit it on size 4, so I'm knitting it on size 5s.
Oh.
It happens. They also have knit it, like, the sample was knit on a size 3. It's very, like, loosey-goosey, kind of. Yeah, forgiving, that's the word. And
it's a shawl.
And it's a shawl, and it's meant for minis. It's meant for either 5 100-gram skeins or 24 to 25 minis. And you can do it in DK, you could do it in DK, or you could do it in fingering and have it in different sizes depending on how much yarn you have, if you have 10 grams or if you have 20 grams.
All right.
So I have had the yarn laid out on my floor for over a year, probably. So I decided to...
Your father would be very happy
put them
coming off your floor.
Put them in little baggies with numbers on them.
Oh, as to when you start them?
As to what section they are.
Okay.
So I will wind them one day when I get... Either when I get to them or when I get a spurt of energy and do that. But I do have them, worked out the order.
Nice.
And, I think it'll be good for some travel knitting, for some TV knitting.
I think it'll be very good for both of those.
Yeah, and I want to start, I think in the next month or so, I want to start taking the subway again for work, so... I think it'll be good subway knitting.
Yes.
So.
Subway's getting busier?
I mean, it's, as far as I can tell, ish. I've only taken it, like, after work to go into Midtown, or into the city in general to see friends and such. I haven't taken it in the mornings, so I don't know. But, yeah. But that's something else that's in my hands.
Let's see. I'm going to report that I did nothing on my cross stitch. So it looks the same as it did last week. I pigged out on corn chips, on Sunday night after we spoke to you all. And I managed to give myself a headache. I thought I might be able to get past it. Actually, the idea was if I stayed up till 3... that I should be able to be fine, because if I eat them in the afternoon, I don't get a headache. Well, that didn't work out. I went to bed with a headache, woke up with a headache. I had a headache for 3 days. So something's with my metabolism that I really shouldn't eat anything after 8 o'clock at night, except for oranges, maybe peaches. What can I say? Iced tea seems to be fine.
Well, that's
so
good.
I can suck down the iced tea like crazy. So anyway, that meant that needlework on Monday was no way. I did finish the dress because that was, big DK weight wool, if not larger. But I didn't work on anything for a couple days. So there are a couple things that saw no love whatsoever. I found my Kohana, which I had kind of misplaced in my brain. So I found that when I was looking for the skirt of the knitted coat dress, I found the Kohana. So I will work on that. I will not start my mother's blanket or continue working on my mother's blanket till I get another one of these projects done. I think that's an idea. I did. Do you have other things you worked on?
So I put some more rounds on my...
Oh, I love that.
Boob window. I do too. I think it'll be really lovely. The 1x1 rib just takes forever.
It does.
The ball of yarn is slowly getting smaller, but it's we're just going to keep going. I mean, we've
Sounds good.
hit past, here it is. Let's see. From the armhole, we have
5 inches.
5.5 inches? 5 inches?
Good 5 inches, maybe 5 1/4.
Hopefully we will get double that in the end. I'd like to have about a 10 or 12 inch from the underarm, but we'll see.
Very nice.
Because it's ribbed and you don't see the progress as much, that's half of why I also cast on the Kuschelig, because I needed something that had progress.
Right, I understand. So for the person who asked us about gridding, I hope we answered your questions easily enough last week. If we didn't, put a note down below and let us know, and we will do our best to rectify the situation or kind of explain further. I did not, as I said, didn't work on my present project. Luckily, I didn't start a new one, so that's all good. Let's see. I did work. Yes, I did post about this.
Yes, you did.
Yes, the Gris.
You were very upset that you had.
I had twisted it, and I figured out that I twisted it on the second row.
Oh no!
So the first round was fine, but then I got up to 3 inches from cast on and realized that this thing was a Mobius.
Oh no! That would be a little difficult to wear.
Yes.
As a sweater.
Now you can see it is not a Mobius.
It is not. Very good.
So I have actually knit to the next section, which is now just starting waist decreases. So the Gris is up to waist decreases. So that was my goal each day when I'm working on a project, to get it to the next step in the direction. So I got to this point. I mean, I had to rip the whole thing out. I was not best pleased. But what I did do, I did about 4 rows of the rib. Excuse me. And then joined it together. Goodness me. I have left enough of a tail. I guess I already wove it in. No, here it is.
No, it's at your hand. Yeah, I saw it earlier.
So you can see that it has a bit of split there. And I have enough yarn here that I'll be able to weave that in and tighten it up and get it to stay together. I was doing so well with it. And I knew that I hadn't twisted it that first row, but these circular needles love to twist on themselves until the sweater has enough weight, and it had managed to twist on the second row. So I have made great strides with that. It is now ready to do some of the waist decreasing rows.
Good.
And I'll work on that this week. You have anything else?
No.
I do. And I left the name of this pattern downstairs. Well, when you're writing it, we will get it. It's actually stress number 13.
It's the number 13.
Yes. So I need to get roughly 120 rows before I do waist shaping. And this looks like it's really thin. The gauge actually is for it to be like this. So waiting, I mean, if I held it up to myself now, it could be a short skirt now, but it wouldn't reach around my hips. So it will be blocked to the proper gauge. I'm about halfway to waist shaping. I was knitting like a fiend. In fact, I made it so my hand hurt. So I had to stop. Because I was hoping to get, let's see, I've done row 40 after the first 46. I'm actually at 86 rows. Anyway.
You only have another 20 or so to go.
No, because I have to do 82 rows after the 46.
Oh.
Yes, I read that 3 or 4 times to make sure. Yes. And when I looked at it, it was laying on my lap. I said, that's looking awfully long. But then I realized that with the ribbing that's involved, it pulls in. Anyway, so this is, I'm going to say roughly halfway. I keep track by row. I've got a notebook downstairs. This thing is going rather well. Very pleased. It's very soft. It's a plus for me.
Good.
I lost a half a pound this week, so that's improving. We talked about the pinup girl dresses that I ordered 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. When one of them came in, I couldn't zip the thing up. It's got one of those invisible zippers where I don't like invisible zippers to begin with because I find them different.
They're very sturdy, though, the ones in the pinup girl.
Well, God, they better be. Anyway, by midweek, I could get them all on. They weren't necessarily comfortable, but they were all on. So that's a plus. So things in the diet world are moving along.
That's good.
This.
Yes, this is the Symmetry.
This is my Symmetry. And I have worked on this till this is all I have left of the second ball.
Thank goodness you have a third.
Yes, but it's actually
you were hiding it.
Yes. So I have about 5 more inches to go. So I will be into that third ball. And then I thought, well, if I run short on the cell Gris, I could use this as an accent color.
Possible.
For that. So this is moving along. What I may try to do is finish it this week. We'll see. Why didn't I work on doing it this week? Because it's actually getting to the point where it's boring. It's the same pattern.
So it'll be good for women's finals.
Yes, it will
for women's gymnastics finals.
So it's certainly coming along, and I think you can see that slash that's going across.
Yeah, it's very visible now.
Very nice. So that got worked on. I was very pleased with that. I don't want to mess it up here. Okay, we got that in. I did not work on the Serenity.
Okay.
That didn't get done. I thought about it, but then we had a question about budget here on Friday.
Yes, you did.
And I took all day on Friday to work on that. I still have 1 credit card left to go to put in. So, and I did not work on my celestial eggshell representation. So it's that in the bag. But I have it. So the good news was I found the Kohana, which is that blue cotton that I had started on. One of the first things that I had bought at Knit.
Since coming back?
Since coming back, exactly. Knit. I have things that you brought to me.
You do? Yes. I don't have anything that I brought.
So this is a friend of ours who was de-stashing because she was on her way up to medical school.
Yes.
I believe I mentioned it before.
Yes.
So it has now arrived. This is now all Cascade yarns, and it's cotton. So she has these together. Now, I have to say that this green is not a favorite of mine. I easily could use it for when we get another boat. I could use it for holding things together on the boat. I mean, it's like...
Or dishcloths.
Yes, dishcloths would be good. It's definitely dishcloth cotton for me because
the color, not the Cascade Pima is lovely.
It's great. So I got that, and then this is Cascade Ultra Pima,
which the other is as well.
Yes, and it's 100% Pima cotton,
and it's gray and blue.
Yes, it is. Well, kind of a sea aqua, and this is a very light. Very, very light blue. I really like them together. So there are 4 skeins in here. And then, this is wool, it looks like to me.
Those look like they're the cotton. That looks like the cottons, Mom.
Does it?
Yeah.
Let's
That's
open
wool
it up.
singles. But I think those two are the...
This is wool.
Yeah. I don't think they're all the same thing.
Right, this is a cotton. So I've got 2 cottons and 1
singles.
Wool. What?
Well, now it's on the other side of the table.
2. So we'll see. I certainly have enough yarn that I can mix and match. This is fingering. And I think
the cotton is more of what's in that last bag you just
I
showed.
think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Yes. Yes, that does match. I could conjure up a tunic with that.
Yes, you could.
Yes, I could. What I'm going to do with the pink, I'll have to look and see. So that would make that 800 yards, roughly, in there that I could conjure with. And then there is this. White Birch Fiber Arts, which is machine wash, cold, and dry flat. So this I got for nuggins.
Oh, nuggins for nuggets.
Knitting. So what I'm going to make, I have no idea. It's 80% merino, 20% nylon, approximately, well, apparently I have a choice.
No, it's the 80% merino, 20% nylon. It's 400 yards.
I would think so, but...
That's what it is, Mom. She has skeins that are 400 yards of those different types, and it's checked off. Thank you.
Whatever. So this I got for nugget knitting. So I got a couple of things, between the acrylic that I had bought before and this.
Mm-hmm.
For nugget knitting, I still haven't figured out what I'm going to make for them for Christmas. So I have to think on that. So my mom, I have said that I'm going to work on her a blanket for her, work on her. I'm not working on my mom. I am working on a blanket for my mom.
No, we've tried to work on her and it doesn't go far.
That really doesn't work. But I have not thought or figured out what I'm going to make for the kids. I'm thinking maybe a sweater apiece. Because I don't know that the toys are.
I don't know. She's got a lot of stuffed animals, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe store-bought.
You might not need to add to the
stuffed animal population.
Yeah.
Whereas sweaters and stuff like that are fine. Mm-hmm. So, I may make since the onesie is larger, I may make a smaller sweater for him and a sweater for her, that kind of thing. I think that may be what I'm aiming at, so I'm going to think on that. I don't know that I want to make those the same color.
No.
I think for baby presents, that's fine, but I don't think I want to do that. Other than that, I found that I was cutting myself. I have a cut here. I drew blood.
Paper cuts?
No, this I managed when I was trying to slice open this neck thing. So my scissors are very sharp.
Yes, they are. They're the pink ones?
Very sharp.
The pink ones are very sharp.
No, this was my black ones.
Those are also very sharp.
Yes.
All of the things you bought last year.
Very sharp.
You bought a knife.
Yes.
You bought scissors. Very sharp.
Well, because mine had worn down.
Well,
now I'm noticing my needles are not very sharp.
Yours.
They're hand sewing.
Oh.
So I'm thinking
I need to invest in some new needles.
In some really fine needles.
Either some John Jameses or Boheens or
maybe Boheens. We'll have to think on this because the ones that I have right now are like sticking in the fabric.
I was going to say if you want, I was thinking about getting, and this also relates because you were thinking about snaps. I was thinking about getting some snaps with the pliers. What did you call them before?
Grippers.
No.
Gripper snaps.
No, you called them pop snaps. That's what you called them. Okay. So, because you pop them instead of sew them. I don't know. That's how my brain connected it when you were describing it. And you said we don't have any of those, and I think those would be really nice to have. I have a few. Yeah. I have a wallet pattern that I want to make. That has some snaps, so I want to have the snaps for that. But also, I think snaps are a good option for closures.
Yes.
And
because I think it's easier to work a snap on a cuff.
It's easier to work a snap, and I think snaps, for me, snaps have a little bit more rigidity to them instead of buttons and buttonholes that feel a bit more secure to me. I've had buttons come out of buttonholes, I think, too many times.
I generally make my buttonholes small enough that that has not been a problem. No, I don't have that kind of problem. I have a problem with losing things, but I don't have a problem with my buttonholes. No, I tend to make very snug buttonholes. So that...
Well, but and the other thing is I also think that snaps are more low profile.
Yes.
So,
yes, that'll agree.
Because I have some wrap tops that I would like to put them in. I think I'd rather put snaps than buttons because they're more low.
Ripper thingies?
No, but I was going to order from Waywack.
Ah, okay.
And they have bohemian needles. If you would like me to, or
yes, let's look and see. Because I want some really nice, really sharp sewing needles. Yes, hand sewing needles. Yeah. So if I hadn't made myself ill with the corn chips, I would have gotten more done.
I understand.
I actually went to bed on Tuesday or Wednesday. Just stayed in bed till it finally went away. One day I tried to power through it, made myself really
even
sick.
more ill? Yeah, yes. That's my favorite.
Yes, so that was not a good plan. Yeah. So it must have been Tuesday that I then stayed in bed.
Must have been.
Your father was going, I could have told you this was going to happen. I said, well, I'm glad you didn't.
Glad you didn't, because it would have been
you held that back.
A lot of grumbling.
Yes. So, anyway, what can I tell you?
Not much.
Not much. And I still managed to lose a half a pound.
Well, that's good.
Yes, so I figured maybe if I behaved myself,
all right.
I might lose a pound. Who knows? We're going sailing tomorrow. George has invited us out on the boat. He sent Richard a note saying, so, if you and Carolyn want to go out on the boat anytime, just let me know. And I said, just name the day. Just name the day. I'm there. I'm losing my mind.
Oh my goodness.
Losing my mind.
I saw someone from my last job this past week, which was awesome. It was so good to see them. And they asked how you were, and, I told them about the boat situation, and they said, oh, well, at least they still have their old boat. And I was like, well, no. You see, my father had a fear of being double-boated. And my sentence got finished with, and now you're no-boated. Right. How was your mother handling that? And I said, not well. As evidenced by this. And of course,
I was almost in tears on Friday.
The reaction of this coworker was, oh no, your father did not think this through fully. Because being no-boated is probably worse than being double-boated.
This is better for him.
Well,
it's worse for me.
Yeah.
I truly was almost in tears all day on Friday. Because there was a boat in Newport that I wanted to go see, but I finally got him to do all kinds of research online, and we discussed it. And even though it was a new boat that had an owner's pontoon, the helm position, so where the wheel is, was way out on this pontoon or way out on that pontoon, not more centrally located, and in the back of the boat. So if you're cavitating, this thing is going to be moving up and down. You won't be looking through the windows of the cabin. You'll be looking out at the water, but you'll be going up and down like this. And if any water comes over, it's going to come right at you.
Yeah.
So it's a very wet position.
Okay.
There are foul weather covers that can go over this, but they're separated from that main cockpit. So if you're in bad weather, you would be protected in the helm station, but then you'd have to come out of that, get really wet, to get into the cockpit or the dining,
the main
saloon area. And as much as
that's so sad. It was such a lovely boat.
Otherwise, it was really nice. But for handling of the boat, it didn't suit us.
No, that would
not.
And
then the boat that's in Florida is under
contract.
Yeah. Or no, it says sail pending.
Okay.
Which is what our boat in Maine was up until we said no, thank you. So it's possible that boat will come back on the market, but I kind of doubt it. If it's as good as I think it was,
it's also. There are other boats.
There are other boats, and it's not November yet. So I may just kind of want to hold fire unless I see something between Maryland and Maine.
Yeah.
So that we could get it relatively quickly here at home and not have to worry about trying to get around the bottom of Florida and up the coast in a week, which I think would be impossible for us to do, since we would not run 24 hours a day. Anyway, you know, it's actually true. This is not generally the time of year that people sell boats, so there hopefully will be more boats come November. We shall see. And actually, come November, we could start looking at boats down in the islands.
You could?
And then, you know, working our way up that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we've been between Grenada and St. Vincent. Mm-hmm. And basically, I can see, and I've been out to Anegada, which you don't see before you leave the Virgin Islands because it's so low. So I probably could work up the chain of islands, you know. Okay. And the hardest part might be bypassing Cuba.
Okay.
But if we get to the Dominican Republic, so Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and then maybe up to Bahamas. So it's also hoping that COVID calms down so that entering various countries would be easier, because otherwise then you do have to run 24 hours. You're not allowed to just put up the Q flag, drop an anchor, then be up in the morning and out. They do want you to check in and check out. So, you know, we might, you know, go look at the boat, then go down and stay for a month because you want it surveyed.
Yeah. And
do all that kind of stuff, and it'd probably take a month or so to do that. And then, you know, bring it back, and maybe by then COVID will be a non-issue. We can only hope.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. Things are getting a little bit easier now that more people are vaccinated, so that there are some governments that are saying if you're vaccinated, then the requirements for coming in and out of the country are lessened. And some, I think the Bahamas was, if you can get a clear COVID test result up to 3 days in advance, and then you get to the Bahamas and take another test, and you're vaccinated. No, the Kellys were not vaccinated, so they were doing the 2 PCR tests. Since we're vaccinated, I don't know. I think it'd be even easier. So anyway, we will see. There are more boats down in Florida. There are more boats down in the islands. In fact, there's a lovely boat on sale in Grenada, but I don't want to go to Grenada at this point. It's really hot in Grenada. It's really hot in Grenada in January, so it would be really hot in Grenada now. So, and I can't see getting your father on a plane to go to Grenada at this point, because then we would be there for quite a while. So I need to keep my powder dry. I need to keep the states that I'm looking at to just the East Coast, and then ignore everything that's in Florida and only look at Maine to Maryland, right? And other than that, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else? No? So I didn't get as much done, but I learned to stay away from the corn chips.
Oh, that's a good thing
I think that's a good thing. Yeah. I learned slowly. So it's took me 50 years to realize I had to do my stretches, otherwise my back would hurt. Took me another 8 to figure out stay away from the corn chips, because you're only going to hate yourself because it hurts later. And I really, if I don't eat after 7:30, 8 o'clock, I don't end up with headaches. That seems like a no-brainer.
Yep.
You would think it's a no-brainer.
You would think.
But the other things taste so good.
I know.
So when I get down to my next 5-pound loss, we're going to go buy the avocado ice cream.
Okay.
And declare a week's vacation.
Okay.
Because I'm going to celebrate.
Okay.
Yes. Now I'm done.
Okay. I'm just watching our time. We've got swimming finals to watch.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
It's not yet, but we're getting, we got time crunches here, people. So, yes, it is the Olympics.
My Symmetry out there.
Yes, it is the Olympics. So Mom and I are watching it on NBC Sports. I'm watching it via the app most of the time through NBC Sports because Peacock is not behaving for me.
No,
it might be behaving for you all, and to which I say good on you.
Yes.
But if you have...
I've been switching between Channel 4 and Channel 50 on Fios.
Which is the NBC and USA networks.
Yes, and USA is what's replicated on the app. If you notice, they have the USA...
But it's also... But that's just what we were watching.
Oh, okay.
Was
so
also,
apparently they're switching between...
Yeah.
Things.
There are different... because you were saying the NBC Sports Channel, or was it... What's 91?
91 is the sports channel.
So the sports channel has tennis, is running the tennis tournament predominantly.
91 is the tennis predominantly. 90 often mimics Channel 4 itself.
Okay.
NBC itself. Or it's got... one time it was doing just surfing. I mean, it was something... No, it wasn't surfing. It was... the bicycle racing.
The cycling.
And it was 140 kilometers. That they weren't doing much of anything.
No, they weren't. I fell asleep watching that.
Because they don't have teams and they don't have radios.
Yeah.
The strategy is not there.
It's very interesting that they don't have radios in the Olympics. Very interesting. The women's cycling had an issue because the woman who won came in so much further ahead that the woman who came in second thought she had won.
Right.
Which was very upsetting, but she was a very
lost
sportsman.
track.
But she also was very sportsman about it and was like, I was celebrating as if I had won. I'm still very excited about my silver. And because we don't have radios, I just didn't know. And I lost count and track of people.
That's right. That's right. So, very interesting. But, yeah, 90 had the cycling on. And I watched it for a good hour. And I said, oh, my God, shoot me now. Because...
I put it on after
the Tour de France. They have strategy depending on what everybody else is doing, and without the radios, there's no way that the team card can help you, and you can't see past the next curve.
Yeah.
So it's really very difficult. So anyway, I was going last night between 50, which is the USA Network, and NBC. But I was working
the remote.
Yes, I was.
I've just been picking a sport and watching it on the app. But other than that, I think that's where we'll leave it.
That is where we'll leave it. I'll see what I can finish this week.
I know, so will I. Maybe I'll have progress on something. Maybe one of these sweaters will get done. We'll
you never
see.
know. I find that with the Tour de France, I was able to get lots done. So
we'll see.
Absolutely.
All right. Talk to y'all again soon.
Bye.
Bye.